right, Sean Zattel here with my guy Radio Raheem and undefeated British heavyweight, highly decorated amateur at just 19 years old, 7-0, 6 knockouts, making his American debut this Saturday in the Los Angeles area at the War Grounds. Dignity Health, me and Raheem knew it as the Stub Hub, home of many legendary nights and fights in boxing. Leo Atang fighting on his own Saturday night. Leo, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us.
All good. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited. Like I looked into it a bit myself, like at the venue, and I've seen a lot of fights. And now that you guys are confirming, it's a bit of like a legendary venue.
I mean, it's a hell of a welcome to America. Let me tell you. For me, at StubHub, and I'll always call it StubHub, like I'll always call the Staples Center, it is hallowed ground. You might, on the night before the fight, you might just want to take a look at Bradley Provodnikov. You know, you might want to take a look at Rios Alvarado 1. There are some real bangers that went on in that. We're calling it an arena, the Hub. We'll just call it the Hub.
Yeah.
Now, I know you don't want contentious fights like that. You're looking for a little easier night out come
Yeah,
tomorrow night.
maybe not a war tomorrow.
But some of these American fighters that you are now walking in the footsteps of have really christened that venue. And I'm curious just what it means to you really to be having an American debut. Does it mean what it once meant for British fighters? How do you consider this milestone in your career in the way of importance?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a bit of a pinch me moment that I'm doing it, especially so early in my career. Like it's something you dream of just to do once in your career. Every fighter wants to have that American fight. You see them all the time on TV, the bright lights and stuff like that. And so, in fact, I'm doing it so early. I'm so grateful, and I'm so excited to get out there tomorrow.
Yeah, and you're in Los Angeles, so you're not in some off-brand city. This is the big time Tinseltown. How you find it? How long have you been in LA leading up to this fight?
Not that long because we had some issues with like the passports and stuff like that, but it all got sorted. So we arrived on Tuesday night, so still a decent time. We've been here, but I went to Venice Beach. That was good. Played a bit of basketball. Maybe not the sport for me. And then yeah, I've just been about really. Not I haven't gone in deep with the food yet, but I'm waiting till after the fight. That's when I might become unrecognizable when I start getting them In-N-Out burgers and all that. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to doing the business Saturday, and then I'll start to have a look around, see what's about.
I'll let Sean jump in there. He's got the legendary Dippin' Dots. He can tell you where to get.
Yeah. Santa Monica Pier. Yeah. They don't have the chocolate flavor no more. I don't understand this. But hit up a taqueria, get some LA tacos while you're out there, and definitely In-N-Out. But don't be afraid to go to a local burger spot too. Not
Yeah,
just,
I bet it's probably better.
Yeah, but you can't go wrong with In-N-Out though. You're in good hands in LA. But Ben Whitaker, he had a really good debut. I think it was 3 weeks ago now in Brooklyn at the Barclays, knocking out Popeye Rivera. Do you envision a similar kind of American debut Saturday night?
That's it. It's almost like not a bit of a fresh start. You can announce yourself to like a different audience, and that's what I'm looking to do. Looking to impress, looking to surprise everyone of how good I really can be.
We could watch tape and draw our own scouting reports and everything. 6'6", very good jab, good right hand, good speed and everything, and good fluidity at 6'6" But how would you describe yourself as a prospect and your style and your attributes to people who haven't watched you yet and they're listening to this? How would you describe Leo Atang?
I'll cut the rumors thing. I don't know why everyone says that. Everyone thinks I'm 6'6". I'm not 6'6". I'm like 6'4". Don't want to catfish anyone, but I'm still fairly big. But
6 on the dating apps.
yeah, we'll put them on there. But nah, I'm gonna go in. I want to show off my speed. I want to show off the actual boxing IQ. That I'm not just I don't just punch and hope for the sakes of it. I'll break them down. I'll work them out, and then we'll take them out of there.
It wasn't on the box rec, Raheem, so I went to Google, and then Google lied to me. Google told
I know. I don't know where I think it was like the start, and then obviously everyone got this like one bit of information that just got carried away.
it sounds like a promoter trick. You know what I mean? They
Uh,
make
we'll
you
take we'll take it.
make you sound like a monster. But
Yeah.
to be fair, you are a bit of a monster. Like you are in this class of these new, young, and British heavyweights that are avidly discussed. When I was talking to Sean about even before the show, it's just interesting how so much conversation is around Moses Itauma, rightly so.
Mm.
You know, he's boxed at a higher class than you, even though you're
Yeah.
not that far in differential in number of fights. You both have major promoters, obviously both big British talents. But how do you see your trajectory publicly with the amount of public name awareness, even the amount of expectancy as to what you're going to be able to do in the heavyweight division, as opposed to a Moses Itauma? And do you consider yourself in the same class? Is that your indeed contemporary? Are you competing with him to some degree in just like who's the next guy?
I think he's kind of already up there right now at the moment. You know, he's in maybe 1 or 2 fights away from a world title. So it'd be hard to compete on that sort of level. I know that I will get there eventually, and yeah, the fight's there down the line. But for now, I'm just working on myself, building up. You know, I turned pro early to get that experience to get there, and then you know when that time comes, 100% I want that fight because like the end goal for me is to be a world champion. If he's gonna have the belts, then 100% we'll go for him.
You know, there was a lot of discussion about whether or not he was going to be able to break Mike Tyson's record. You know, you're 19. I realize that it would have to be a bit of magic, but Eddie's been known to have some magic in his hat. Like, is that a record that you would even target? And like you say, one day you want to get there. You guys don't have that much real estate between you, just in the numbers game of how many fights you've had and such. How quickly do you think you'd be ready to challenge for a world title? And do records like that matter to you?
For me, no, I don't. I think it'd be impossible to do that. To become the youngest now. One, with all the boxing politics and stuff like that, and two, like I don't think I've got the credentials of who I fought yet to get there. But obviously, it will come with due time. I know that, and I hand on heart believe that. But you know, 3 years time, I want to be up there and talked about for them big fights.
You know, once upon a time here in the United States, it was all like in the 80s, in the 90s, still even in the early 2000s, it was like, who's going to be the next great American heavyweight? And then really in the last 2+ decades, they've either come from the former Soviet Union, you know, East Europe, Russia,
Mm.
Ukraine, or they've come from the United Kingdom. And there's Moses, there's the Irish heavyweight. I'm sure you can help me. Was Olympian?
Alanian, yeah.
Olanian, yeah. Do you look at that now like this is the great proper lineage that you're following in, and is there a responsibility and an expectation now, like Daniel Dubois had on him, like Anthony Joshua had on him, Fury, to have to live up to a certain level of caliber, being the next British heavyweight, one of them?
Yeah, like because they hold such a high standard, like that's something you strive for, and it's almost like something as well you can be a bit proud of, like knowing that you're carrying carrying on the British legacy of that the heavyweights are kind of running the game at the moment.
Is
What
there a
would you
British
say?
fighter? Or, sorry, you got
No,
more?
you're real quick. What would you say? Because now that you've revealed you are 6'4" and not 6'6", and
Yeah.
that's the same height and size range as Moses. Where are you
Mm.
guys different as fighters?
Mm, I'd say I mean, you can't really question him about like heart and ability because you don't know he hasn't been in them ones. But I know deep down in myself when the going gets tough, I'm willing to go wherever they want to go. So I think
Are
a lot of the heart and the skill. I think skill wise, I think we're both up there. Like the skills there. You know, he's a bit bigger, but again, with due time, I'm gonna get bigger as well. I'm not. If I stopped growing at 19, I think something would have gone wrong. So, everything in due time, we'll get there, and I believe that when it is time, I'll be the one to come out on top.
Have you guys ever crossed paths in the gym? Anything?
Yeah, I know he knows me. I know him. Like I've seen him before a few times about, and like I've spoke to him. You know, but not sparred or anything like that. But you know, we speak to each other, we've seen each other.
are there heavyweight British fighters that you would model yourself after, as opposed to American heavyweight legends? Like, one of the debates I get into occasionally is how great heavyweight lineage the UK really has. Like, you got Lennox Lewis, if you want to take credit for Lennox Lewis, right?
Yeah.
But after that, we're Joshua, Fury, Bruno. I
Frank
don't know
Bruno,
who's the
Dave
gold
Allen,
standard. Who was it? Did you say
Dave
Dave
Allen.
Allen?
Yeah,
See, this is what God bless Dave Allen. All credit to him. But this is
that's my
the
guy.
levels where the conversation goes. Do you see yourself as potentially being able to eclipse even all of those names? Do you see the American heavyweight lineage as something that that you could pattern yourself after? Like, how do you see yourself in the annals of history? What you would bring as a British heavyweight champion?
I was having this debate the other day, and they were like, why? Someone was asking me, "Oh, why do you box?" And I was like, I couldn't answer it at first. I was like, "Oh, I don't know." And I was like, I don't really think it's for like the money and the world titles and stuff like that. It's like I want to be remembered. Like I want to be in them conversations of, oh, like if we're talking about great Brits, oh, we've got Lennox Lewis, Leo Atang. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be in them sort of conversation. And that's something which really gets me up and makes me strive for it because I want to be remembered.
So
What
who do you remember?
Oh, sorry. Who do I remember?
Yeah, like,
Well,
who's your fighters?
I'll be honest. I was a bit young, so for all the other ones. So for me, it was obviously AJ growing up. He was on the TV the most for me. Obviously, I watched old clips of Lennox and Bruno and stuff, but I wasn't really around then. I didn't see much of it.
I see you're a guy fight to fight, really trying to hammer down your sense of distance and dictating the distance and everything, which is what top level guys do. So I'm watching you and I'm thinking, does he like studying the smaller weight class fighters, the Shakur Stevensons, guys like that? Are those the guys you're studying as much, if not more, than heavyweights, or is it more studying the AJ, studying the heavyweights more so?
No, because I feel like I don't really box like AJ. So I try to study the lighter weights. Don't get me wrong, it's kind of hard to get it to a T because they're half my body size. But like, if I can sort of go through the motions, do what they're doing, do it at a speed I can do, which is faster than what heavyweight can do. Like they're gonna struggle to hit me, and struggle to hit me, and I'm gonna be countering them all the time and finding the angles, finding the shot selection, finding the right things. Because if you know the fault's there, with my speed, which I know in myself I've got, it can all come together.
Who are some of the guys, though, in particular, that you're watching on tape studies quite often?
You got Mayweather I'm watching, like you say, Shakur a lot. I like Abdullah Mason as well. I like what he does. Don't get me wrong, he's not the same stance as me, but I like the stuff he does.
Would you like people to be talking more about you and your style and your trajectory? I mean, obviously, we in the sport know the name, and we're sitting here talking to you right now out of the respect for what we expect to see from you now on Saturday and in the future. But your name isn't really ringing out right now. Is like, oh, we gotta watch this guy. You can't get a heavyweight conversation going without somebody bringing up Moses. Do you feel like they're overlooking you a bit to that regard?
I wouldn't say overlooking. I think he's just been in them bigger fights, them more high profile fights. So when I get them, I'll be in them conversations just as much as he is.
Where do you see those big fights coming? I mean, Matchroom obviously doesn't have the stable in the heavyweight division that Queensberry does. Obviously, they're all on the zone. Maybe these fights get made across promotions, but it might be a little bit more difficult for you to get those fights lined up as easily because they're not with Matchroom. How do you see that unfolding?
I think there's still opportunities that you can get. Like just because they're not under the same promotion, I can still be able to get them big fights. So obviously this is my first year as a pro, and then we'll go into the next year, sit down and look at them bigger fights, them bigger names which we can step to.
Good activity in his first year as a pro too, Raheem. Not to 8 fights as of Saturday night. That's good activity for getting started. And Raheem, also before we did the interview, he brought up a good point about, is this actually a benefit to you that Itauma is getting a lot of the hype right now, deservedly so, and that kind of allows you to just do your thing and not as much pressure on you early in your stages where you're still trying to develop and everything. Is that actually a blessing in a sense?
That's it, because I'm not really one to. I'm not at the moment. I know I'm not there yet, so I'm not really there calling out these big names and stuff. That's why I'm using this time whilst I'm young to learn, get the experience in, get the different styles under my belt. Learn a lot from the sparring in the gyms and stuff, and then when it does come to calling out names out, I've got that years of experience, which some of the others might lack, but I'll be on a lot more fights than them.
What really? Oh, go ahead, Ryan. Yeah.
No, I was going to take it a different direction a little bit. Sean brought up obviously the American heavyweights. We're always going to have this conversation. How do you rate the heavyweight division currently, like class wise? How do you look at these current fighters as far as talent and ability? Obviously, we're on our way. We would expect to Joshua Fury, like the Great British Showdown. Each of them have a little bump in the road to clear next week on the way. Do you see a winner in that fight clearly? How do you think that matchup goes? And then what do you think of just the heavyweight division talent-wise in general?
So I think for that fight, it's a kind of, as sad as it is, it's a bit of it's a legacy defining fight. So whatever happens in that fight, you're always going to be known as, oh, well, you didn't beat this one, or you didn't beat him. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's a big, it's going to be hard for the loser for their career. It's going to take a big hit, definitely. And I think the way the heavyweight scene looks now, I think it's brilliant. Like at each level, there's so many fighters. So it's like you're never shy of competition. If you're wanting to move up a level, there's loads of fighters there. You want to move up another level, you've got world class level. There's loads of fighters there. So there's plenty of opportunity out there, and that's what I think it's driving at the moment.
And I think,
right, go ahead.
yeah.
That was a nice political answer. Which one of these guys is going to be devastated by this time next year?
As in, like, who's gonna win AJ Fury?
Who's going to lose? Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna back AJ
Okay, why?
because I'm biased. I'm just a fan.
That's his guy. He mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, I just thought you might give me some technical answer, but that is as honest as you can be. I'll take it. AJ's
Yeah.
your guy. Do you see yourself? I mean, I don't know. Maybe you have. Have you sparred with him or spent any time training with him?
Nah, not even. He's too big time for me. But nah, I've only met him once. I definitely would if the opportunity arrived. But nah, I haven't done anything with him around like that.
Okay.
Eddie, you listening? Get the kid
Eddie,
some
sorry,
FaceTime with Joshua. He needs, But, and also what kind of, because you're mentioning how much it'll suck for the loser to take a hit in their legacy. Another thing is they're not fighting in their prime, so whoever loses will have that built-in excuse of, or explanation of, yeah, but if we would have fought when we should have really fought, I would have won. Do you feel like that's at play too?
I think it is a fight which has definitely come too late. It's been talked about for years now, and it would have been a lot bigger, come a few years ago. Who knows? Or maybe it might be bigger now because we've waited for it to be longer. Either one, but like you say, I think it does sort of to the casual fan, it tarnishes to a boxing fan. They'll still appreciate their careers and stuff, but to the casuals, like I think it will definitely tarnish their reputation a bit.
Well, oh no, go ahead, Ryan. My bad.
You think tomorrow night, being your American debut, you're knocking up against 10 fights, like you're about to be judged more harshly about how you get these wins, who you're fighting, how long it'll take you to climb the ladder to serious contenders. You need a marquee performance last night. You need something. I mean, tomorrow night. You need something to get people talking about you.
And that's the plan. Like I haven't come all this way just to go through the motions. I've come here to impress and come here to leave an imprint on everyone. And I want to shock everyone of how good I am. I know some people think I'm good, but I want to go above and beyond that and show them how good I really am.
There's when you talk about it's exciting at all levels, I think the next crop of heavyweights, like you said, the Irish kid O'Linehan, I probably didn't say his name right, but he is a talented fighter when I've watched him. Yourself, Moses, And when you won the under 19 gold in the under 19 championships in Colorado, and you won gold in that, which I think is probably the standout, thing of your amateur career. That's a big thing. At middleweight, Joseph Albignonga Jr., he won gold in that tournament as well. And now he's sprouted all the way up to heavyweight.
Yeah, I've seen him. I didn't see much of his fight, but yeah, I seen him around obviously the hotels and stuff like that. And obviously he won, so he's clearly a talented fighter.
Is he the guy for the United States that's going to be able to have the talent and the size to mix it up with you and Moses and we got a kid too, Mazi, who's with Zuffa, Damazi and Van Uter. Do you see Joseph as the guy that you'll also at some point cross paths with in the division's future?
I won't sit and say because I don't know much about him, but he seems to be winning everything he's doing, and he's gone up the weights. He's still winning that weight, so 100%. Why not? I think he could be the one.
You talk about the ability to challenge at different levels. Whatever level you want to fight at the heavyweight, there's somebody there to meet you and challenge you. And we're talking now about amateur pedigree and how that lines up. But we've seen with Fabio Wardley how a guy with no amateur pedigree can attain the world championship. I mean, boy, what a hell of a scrap he was in with Dubois last time out. And that seems to be lined up for the rematch. What do you make of that first fight? Like, when you see brutality like that, do you think that fight could have been stopped earlier? And how do you see the rematch going?
I think it was brutal, but I think with his fights, he's been getting beaten a lot of fights, and then he pulls out the bag. So I think there was a lot of hope from that in the corner. So I think it's a hard one to really to judge if you are going to pull him out or not, because could he pull out the bag at any second? But yeah, it was definitely a brutal one. And what was the second question?
Well, knowing that, how do you see the rematch? I mean, it appears to be happening.
I think there's definitely adjustments to be made. Quite clear ones. It was a lot of it was just looking for the big right hand, wasn't it? So if he can, clean up on that, I think it might make the fight a lot closer. But again, it's still like it was before the fight, still a dead 50-50.
Really? Do you take away? Do you watch? Are you one of the kind of fighters that watch other fights and are taking it in and figuring out how you can learn from other people's fights?
Yeah, sort of. Like, I'm not to try to box like him or anything like that, because again, different fighters. But it gets you excited to think like, wow, I'm gonna be in them big fights one day. Like, so it definitely gets you up for it.
Yeah, I'm interested in your analyst hat. Because obviously, before that fight will take place, we will see Itauma in the ring, and that's a level up. That's a step up for sure. Could even be somehow elevated to a world title fight by the time it comes around. We don't know. What do you see happening in that step up against Hrgovic for Moses Itauma?
I think Hrgovic will, if it's gonna happen, I think it'll go early potentially. I'm gonna favour towards Itauma just with the speed and stuff, but at the same time, I think if it starts to drag on a bit, I think Hrgovic is tough as anything, and he's an experienced fighter. He knows how to break people down. Like, he's only lost once due to a cut against Dubois, and I don't think he was doing bad against Dubois. So it's definitely a step up. So again, it'll be interesting. But for now, I'd probably favour towards Itauma because I just think the speed.
Can I jump in on that, Leo?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's not about to beat Itauma, bro.
What you say, sorry?
Flip Hrgovic, he's not about to beat Itauma. He's
No.
He leaves his chin. He's a little too upright. Leaves his chin. He's got a good right hand though. He does. And Itauma is inexperienced. But I'm just having fun. I'm like, but he's not gonna beat Moses.
No, I don't think.
Sean is an early and true believer that Moses goes all the way. I still, you know what I mean? I'm a show me guy. I need to see it.
No, of course, and valid. Some people will believe it, but yeah, obviously proof is better than just believing. But again, yeah, I'm a believer. He's obviously good. He's obviously, the way he's dispatching people shows he's good.
Usyk aside, having taken himself out of the championship league of competition, doing whatever he intends to do next, let's put him to the side. Who now is the best heavyweight out there by your estimation?
What other than Usyk, best heavyweight? don't want to say it just because obviously it's the rival. But I'd probably say him. Yeah, I'd probably say Itauma or
Really?
Dubois.
Huh. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Hey, he's got some young guns like Leo, and I think Joseph when he comes from the Olympics, and the Irish kid, and a couple, and the Mozzie kid too that's been making noise on Zuffa. I'm excited for this upcoming crop that Leo's a part of. I really am. And Leo, what made you a fighter, man? Was it something your father got you into, like a lot of fighters, or what made you walk in that boxing gym and then not just walk in there, but at some point say, "This is what I was born to do. This is who I am. This is what I do."
You know what? Like no one in my family boxes or anything like that. I was a very sporty kid, an active kid, and then I just went down one time, and I think the fact that it's all like by yourself. I played a bit of rugby and I played a bit of football and that. But that's a team sport, and I think when it was that individual sport and it's you, everything. Obviously, you've got your coaches, the help of your team and stuff like that. But when you're actually in the ring, every bit of success, it's all down to you and how much you've trained and how much you've put in, how much you've had them early nights, you've had the sacrifices, that you've eaten clean, all that stuff. It all adds up. So I'm a big believer in that, like you get out what you put in. So it's more satisfying when you win, and it's more hurtful when you lose. So it makes it more real.
How old were you when that happened? When you really had your first amateur fight and everything?
I had my first amateur fight at 12, but I was in the gym at about, I'd say, 10.
And you said earlier, one thing you're very assured of is your heart and your willingness to dig down when it gets really tough in the ring. When did you find that out about yourself?
I think it was the European final against, and that it was, so as a junior, the weight division for super heavy was 80 plus instead of 92 plus. So I don't know what that is in pounds, but obviously for the US, but um it was 80 plus kilos, and the person who I was fighting, I think he was 107, 108. I was about 89, so I was a lot smaller. This was at 16, and I remember like going in, I was looking up like that, and I was like an absolute mountain of a man, and he was good. I think he'd won it the year before, and he'd stopped most of his opponents on the way through. So I've gone in, and then it was first round. I lost the first round, and like I've come back, and I was like, and then I'd done my nose and everything. I've come back out, and then he's given me a count, and I was like, okay. And so I've come back and I've given him a count, and then we're there. He's starting to fade. I was absolutely trading. I was like walking down. It was just an absolute war. I lost literally on the tightest 3-2 split decision, but like regardless, I knew in myself, like, after that fight, I wasn't buzzing because obviously I'd lost, but I knew that like I've got it in me to, if we're gonna go, we'll go.
It's awesome.
Even the legends are often boiled down in history to one attribute or one fight or one thing that people will continuously regurgitate about them when their name is brought up. You've said you want to be remembered. If there were one thing that you would be remembered for, what would you want that to be?
Having big nights and memorable nights and big fights. As much as the team probably wouldn't want me to have horrible wars, I want the wars.
Okay, well, here's hoping that that war doesn't come tomorrow night.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not for now. Not for now.
Word up. Okay. Anything else you got, Sean?
No, no, Leo, just thanks for your time, man, and best of luck going forward, man.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having me as well.
Yeah, and allow us to welcome you to America. I believe that we'll look back on this interview like we talked to Leo Atang when. This was right before his first American fight, and it'll be credit to both of us. So thanks for jumping on. We're happy to talk to you. And good luck tomorrow night.
Nice one. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks.